Are you at home?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I,
One
I
of
came
those.
home for an hour, but I've got to leave at 11. I got to get back out.
Okay. Well, you're gonna go out in your rain jacket today because it's it's horrible today. It's been raining just and bad, like not a little storm, like running into your house rain.
Mm-hmm.
It's been crazy.
Very uncomfortable, but South Florida weather. So,
Exactly. At least we don't have to blow dry our hairs. We could just go, whoa, it's wet and
sorry, man.
let it.
There's my $40 down the tube.
I haven't got my hair done since March. I recently went.
I just started. I just got started my highlights again last. I had to dye my hair back to really dark.
Right.
My natural color, and I just started the highlight process again last week. But it was like 6 months, 7 months that I hadn't been to the hairdresser. But
yeah, yeah. I just
trying to support local anyways, so I don't mind it.
Agreed. I just did a pedicure 2 weeks ago for the first time. That was like the one thing, like I couldn't hold it anymore. That's the hardest thing to do to yourself, a pedicure. You could do a manicure, your hair, but I was like, I gotta get one. And the lady goes, "Oh, your feet aren't really that bad." And I'm like, I feel them like the Flintstones.
But you did them here in Hallandale, or you go somewhere else?
I go both. I used to go to this little place that is, oh my God, where Sage used to be. Sage.
Oh, Bay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The little hair salon. They also do nails there. But she's kind of been closing on and off. So there's a place in Aventura, because I live in Aventura, that I go to as well.
Okay.
It depends. If I'm at the office, which is here in Hallandale, I'll go stay in Hallandale. I'm literally closer to Hallandale than I am to anything in Aventura where I live.
Supporting local is great anywhere, but there's some really great places here in Hallandale I could recommend to you.
Please, I would love to. Yeah, absolutely. There was a little place by where the TD Bank is that I've been to a few times. You know that in the shopping plaza where the TD Bank is?
For a pedicure, the best place for a pedicure, she does like almost like medical style pedicure. She's amazing. It's Hair Clip Salon. It's on West Dixie Highway. And her name just escaped me, but I'm sure I'll remember.
Hair Clip on West Dixie Highway.
I'm having a moment. Hair Clip Salon. Gloria is the owner. It's on West Dixie Highway. And what the heck is, oh my God, I can't believe her name just escaped me. Anyways, I'll remember it.
Good to know. She's open all the time?
Yeah, they're back. I mean, they're, it's limited, of course. And
that's been the problem, that, you don't know who's open, who's not, I just thought of something. Maybe we can do just a little page on businesses that are opened up and promote them, like on social media or something. I just thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a group page or something. Opened in Hallandale Beach. Boom, and everybody can post.
It's the hashtag is HP Open for Business.
Open for business.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the open for business hashtag.
It's HB.
Hallandale Beach. Got it. Okay.
Walk. We do have a few attendees logging on, guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining our Good Morning Hallandale Beach breakfast. We are going to get started shortly. Thank you.
Breakfast. We're having coffee and tea. And tea. So everyone, cheers this morning.
Cheers.
Oh.
It's 10:05, Carla, so we'll get started.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Good morning. Hallandale Beach. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Carla Guadamus Davis. I'm on the board of directors of the Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce. And it's my pleasure to have a cup of coffee with you on this morning for another installment of Good Morning Hallandale Beach. So, oh God, I love the vanilla. I've had a pleasure of interviewing many local leaders, and today we'd like to welcome Hallandale Beach Seat 3 Commissioner Anabelle Lima-Taub. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And before we get going, for the participants that are joining us, I'd like to let the attendees know that you can ask questions on the Q&A box. And Commissioner Taub, if you'd like, I can then ask the questions to you. That way you can just focus on us having this conversation and we can go from there. You've been a commissioner now in Hallandale Beach since 2016. And I just want to start with what we're going through now, which is COVID. Obviously every city, small, big, large, has had its issues and it has had to deal with the new normal. What has the city of Hallandale Beach gone through since March?
Gosh, I mean, I think what every city has gone through, but you know, we've had health hardships, we have economic hardships, which is the downfall of it. You know, we had a dear employee. I don't know if you saw him on the news, but you know, we tried to get him medication and had to intervene. I had to call the governor's office. He got COVID. He was in a induced coma, if you will, for 5 weeks. I went to rehab for a month. I just saw him after several months. He came with his cane to vote on Monday. But I think what stands out for me the most, obviously, the loss of life, and I think we all know somebody that was severely affected by COVID. And I know of residents that were affected, but I think that what stands up for me the most for this particular conversation is the economic hardships and the small business owners that either are on the verge of bankruptcy, having to close their businesses down. I was an advocate for good or for bad to open up a little bit sooner to allow the business owners and the restaurants to be able to open their doors to people, to patrons. So I'm very, very concerned, and I'm not going to mention which businesses, but I've had conversations with a lot of the small business owners. And so after, you know, the election, everyone's focused on the election. I want to try to really help them. I've come up with a program. It's going to be called, I already have starting to work on the website, and it's Friend of the City. And it's going to be, I have a great database of about 7,000 emails for residents, but to try to join our small business owners with the residents together. So, but I'm just also waiting to see what happens with COVID and if we can open up. I'll give you an example. Last year, I approached Gulfstream with an idea. And the idea was to have a plant-based festival. And I know some of the business owners at Gulfstream, and yeah, they're concerned because there's not a lot of foot traffic there. So I said, wouldn't it be great if we had a plant-based festival where it would draw in people? I'm a vegan, and it would draw people in. And we had, in partnership with Gulfstream, we had 4,000 people come out that day. And it was one of their best events that they've had. I'm sorry, I'm home, so you might hear the dog barking. But the business owners were really, really happy over there because it brought business, it brought foot traffic to their businesses, to their establishments. And so a few months later, I partnered up with Gulfstream again, and they did that. And so this year, I was afraid that it wouldn't happen again, but they're putting it together. It'll be probably a little bit of a smaller scale, but it'll be November 1st at Gulfstream. So it'll be the third plant-based festival. And hopefully we can bring people into Hallandale Beach and you know, and maybe before the end of today, I'll go over a little bit some of my ideas for Friend of the City. And I am happy to include any business owner in Hallandale Beach in that, and we can safely meet. But I really, really want to help our small business owners.
And that is such good information about the plant-based festival. Are they going to obviously be taking extra precautions?
Of course, of course. So there'll be,
hand sanitizers.
They'll probably have the booths that they had there not as close. I mean, I'm not in charge of logistics, but we had that conversation, and absolutely. So it'll probably be on a smaller scale, and there'll be, obviously masks required and social distancing. But I think some semblance of normalcy is really important, and bringing that foot traffic to the retail owners over there at Gulfstream is really important.
Yeah, I remember that I attended the South Beach Food and Wine Festival earlier this year at Gulfstream that we had. It was the first time that something happened like this in Hallandale, and it was amazing. All the local restaurants, and then they had a movie night at the park. And I just was so happy that we had all these amazing events in Hallandale Beach. And yeah, it's a little sad that some of these events may not happen again, or may have to be on a smaller scale. But it's good that everyone's taking precautions to keep things alive and keep things going. How can people get information about this plant-based festival?
So they can go on Facebook on Gulfstream. Let's just look up Gulfstream Park. And they can also go on my Facebook page, Commissioner Anabelle Lima-Taub, and the information will be there.
That's wonderful. So let's backtrack a little bit. And I wanted to just, you like I said, you've been a commissioner now in Hallandale Beach since 2016. Can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So I decided to run in 2016 because I just wasn't happy with the state of some issues in the city. And I want to keep this positive, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But, I think that when you want to see change, you have to become engaged. And so I did. And I worked really hard knocking on doors. And I was elected, and I am, unapologetic about my support for law enforcement and public safety. So years ago, as an EMT paramedic, and because of health issues, I couldn't finish off my career. And it's just, I think one of the most noble careers is to be a firefighter paramedic. And I had to rethink what I was going to do with the rest of my life. So I became a real estate broker. So I do real estate as my full-time job.
We have that in common.
Yes, I see that.
If you ever want to join, no, I'm just kidding. But that's awesome that we have that in common. That's great. I read that about you.
Yeah, thank you. So that's what I do in my day-to-day. But honestly, being a city commissioner is really a full-time job as well. But I love it. I love interacting with people. Going back to economic hardship, I cannot tell you how many people I had to intervene with, because our Florida's the website for the unemployment or reemployment was broken. And I'm trying to be politically correct. So there were a lot of people that had been let go of work, or small business owners, or hairdressers, nail techs, and
so were they actually calling you directly, and you, like, literally you were there in the trenches when they couldn't reach to anybody at the state level?
Dozens and dozens of, and the word got around that people from other cities contacted me as well. I do have to say that the governor's office was extremely responsive to me. The governor's chief of staff, Mr. Strom, was unbelievably responsive and would be in communication with me on midnights, late at night, Saturdays, Sundays. So I do have to really I will always give credit where credit is due. But there were dozens of residents. And so when I saw the first few of them that reached out to me and said, could you help me? I then started sending emails out and saying, if you're having trouble with the unemployment, reemployment, Florida DEO website, please get in touch with me. And through that, I got to meet a lot of amazing residents. And so when I tell you about the economic hardship, it's something that really stands out to me. Obviously, we all know the health hardships, due to COVID. But what ensues after is very worrisome to me. But yes, in the trenches with a lot of dozens and dozens of residents.
Well, the lovely thing about Hallandale Beach, which is where our offices is located, it's only 4.4 square miles, and we have so much going on in the city, from major high-rise development to we have 2 casinos in our I call it a town sometimes because it feels like we're in a town. And just a lot going on. So I'm going to get into some of these issues, and I want to get into any new ordinances that are now into effect. I was, because of the real estate business that I'm in, one of them was very interesting. And if there's more ordinances, I want to get into those. But there was a new ordinances that just passed that just came into effect for all condominium associations, multifamily homeowners, and co-ops operating within the city of Hallandale Beach, that they're required to register an annual registration by submitting a condo registration application. Could you go into that for me? And was this an ordinance that you backed?
Yes. So it is that's my political baby, so to speak. And I am really, really proud of this ordinance. And so in 2016, when I was knocking on doors, there were so many people, especially seniors. And my weakness is children and seniors. But so many seniors who live on fixed incomes, Social Security incomes, that complained about condo abuse. So their board members abusing them, and assessments and uncontracted work, and capital projects within their building, and some were people that had conflicts with each other. But then there were some that were really, really egregious in nature, and complaints that of real abuse. And so unfortunately, because of the dynamics of the commission, I knew that in order for this ordinance to pass, I had to first put in a lot of time and a lot of work into it. So that was speaking with attorneys, speaking with former state representative Julio Robina, who is like a guru, and I hate that word, but I don't know another appropriate word for it. But he actually, when he was state rep, he came up with legislation to try to not only attenuate the abuses, but really assuage the mitigate some of these complaints, and giving more not power, but giving. Right now, the condo boards and the board members have all the power, and the laws need to change. It's not something that we can do in the city or in Broward County. It really is on a state level. But we had to look at what could we do within the city that could also, we can't keep telling residents on a city level there isn't anything we can do, because that's just being lazy and bureaucratic, and I think we can always do something. But also, it's a lot of staff time. So we'd have a lot of residents that would come to the city and file complaints or ask for public records, and we either didn't have it or it was not within our purview. So working with the city attorney and Julio Robina and a few other people, Dmitry Yakubovich, who's the president of the Beach Club, he was able to successfully overthrow his board a couple of years ago, and so we joined forces, and it took months and months. So going to this ordinance, what it does basically is, for the honest condo board members, it protects them. And I will say that there are a lot of them are honest and they mean well. And so not every condo board is corrupt. There are some, but the majority are not. So it takes some of the pressure off of them. But going back to those that are seniors that are on a fixed income, I'll give you an example. If you want to see let's say person A wants to see the budget for that year, or an audit, they have to submit a request. Well, depending on who's serving on the board, he will say, person A, you can come at 3:00 today, and you'll have an hour to search our records. Person A comes to the office. This person will take all the documents, spread them on the floor, and then how do you reconcile and look for budget items, or no audits at all? There are some buildings that haven't had their financial audits in 7, 8, 9 years. So what this does is it requires for the condos, HOAs, multifamilies to register with the city on October 1st every year. It's $150. It's a very minimal fee. And they have to provide the board members information, the managers, property managers information, because believe it or not, a lot of residents didn't know who their property manager was. When they'd ask for the phone number, they would not be provided with the phone numbers. And thanks to Mayor Cooper, she also added into that ordinance, an emergency contact, because a lot of times they would not be able to. So that needs to be provided as well. And also contracts. So if a contractor is hired to do a job there, their information needs to be posted in the building so that people know who the contractors are, and what kind of work they're doing. So hopefully it will.
Our financials, sorry to interrupt, are financials also part of it, that they're supposed to include their financials?
Their annual audit, yes. So it encourages compliance.
And is there a website then people can go to look up if a condominium has registered and look up their documents, or is it more in depth?
So it's going to be via the city's website, and there'll be a page for it. I think they're still working on it. And then you can just enter, your name, your building, the address, and there will be data, then that it'll be like in the form of a public records request or information request. And then there will be information that will be sent to the individual. But I think once we just launched October 1st. So the idea is to be able to have it up in a data base to be able to send it off to the resident that's requiring the information.
So are there going to be fines implemented if a condo board or association does not do this?
Yes.
Is there a deadline that they have?
I'm sorry?
They have a deadline to do it?
They do, and we're going to try to work with them. But we know from experience that there are some that will purposely not comply. But those that don't comply, and I will say that the majority want to comply. The majority have contacted us or contacted me before the October 1st deadline, because they wanted to make sure that they were in compliance. But there are some that are not, and the ones that are not are the ones where probably the problems are. And so, I am determined to, have a communication line with DBPR and say, hey, you need to look at this particular condo association. They're not complying, and there's got to be a reason, because if you're not hiding anything,
right,
and you're doing everything right, there's no reason not to comply. But I also learned something else that, for anyone that's in real estate, there's language in the condo docs. It's called Kaufman language. Are you familiar?
I have not seen those.
Okay, so sorry?
Please tell. Yes, please tell.
Did somebody say something? I don't know if that's all right.
No, it was me. I said, yeah, I would love.
Oh, okay, sorry. So
okay.
Kaufman language is basically an amendment. It's as amended to from time to time. So what that is, a lot of Olive, come here. What that is, so in the condo docs, when you sell a condo and you give your client 3 days and they look through the condo docs, a lot of those condo docs don't have that language. So I'll give you an example. One association, so let's say their condo docs or declaration were, created in 1969. But since then we've had new laws, so such as, the ones that Julia Rabina worked on. Well, if they don't have this Kaufman language as amended to from time to time, that particular association does not have to comply with the new laws that the state has enacted or passed. So that is why so many egregious condo board members and associations get away with so much, because they don't have this language. And so I think it's really important that, you know, as real estate brokers, as real estate agents, and as, you know, as someone that's going to buy a condo, that we educate the public and we tell them, hey, this is language that you want to have in the condo docs because it protects you. And so let's say if you have to comply with having an audit, if that language is not in there, they don't have the association doesn't have to comply with it. So that was another issue. I drafted the resolution together with attorney Eric Glazer, who's like, you know, another guru is not the right word, but it's the only word I can think of right now. I've been out on the campaign trail every day, so I'm exhausted, but he has an incredible blog, and he works with condo owners that have been egregiously taken advantage of. And so I worked with him on this, drafting this resolution, and I'm taking it from city to city, and wanting to educate people of why this particular small sentence amendment is so important.
And I think because we have so many condos in Hallandale Beach, I think it's important that we're talking about this issue, because most of our residences live in these condos. I mean, look at the numbers. How many residences live in single family versus condos? I would say you've got more in the condos, and it affects us. On a personal note, what I was going through a lot during COVID was, even though real estate was considered an essential service, a lot of the associations were just going wild, wild west on their rules. And I had an elderly woman whose lease was up. She had to be gone within 30 days from her apartment. And I was just trying to get her into a building so that she can buy it. I couldn't get in the building because realtors were not allowed to show unit. And I'm like, how is this possible? I'll wear whatever you need me to wear, 2 masks, gloves, whatever you need. I just need to get my resident in here. She's elderly. I need to help her. Finally, I did get help from the Miami Association, which we have a great legislative power there. And they actually emailed the governor's office. And then within a week, there was something new that he put out there, that real estate is an essential service, and that associations had to let us in the buildings if we had a client. So that was my biggest issue, especially with this lady that I was trying to help. We couldn't get in. And there's, you know, all these 55 and older communities. I know everybody was protecting their residences. We get it. But at the same time, what do we do with those that need housing? So that was a big, big deal. So I think you and I can do maybe something else on this issue, because I feel like it deserves a lot more time, because it affects a lot of people. But I do want to move on. I want to move on to some other things. The city itself, since you've been a commissioner, what would you say are the top 3 changes, 3 differences that you have seen in the city since you've been in as commissioner?
You know, like I said, I want to keep things positive. So I'll tell you what I think the 3 changes that are needed. Okay. You know, we obviously have an underground infrastructure issue. So just take a look when you're driving around. There's flooding, but there are certain areas that really, really get flooded out. So Northeast 12th Avenue, for an example. Last December, we had a terrible storm where people lost their cars because the flooding was so bad. Their cars just, you know, were full of water, and there was a total loss. And you know, it continues to be an issue. So we have 60, 70-year-old pipes that need to be changed out. But we also have development, and you know, that creates some hardships as well. So I think that, you know, the city really needs to be, we need to have a commission that really, really takes a proactive approach. And so, my definition of bureaucracy is it's the art of making the possible impossible, and everything takes so much time. But like we said, the residents that live, the majority of them live on fixed incomes, live in condos. So the people that live on Meadowbrooks and the Meadowbrooks buildings, they're some of the ones that are really, really affected by this. So rather than having it take 2 or 3 more years to put a 2 pumps. So we have 2 pumping stations on Northeast 14th Avenue. The plan is to have 2 pumping stations on Northeast 12th Avenue as well. Southwest pumping station, because there's a lot of flooding in the Southwest area as well. That just started working, but people are complaining that there's still flooding. So that's really, I think, one of the main issues. Public safety is another issue. We have to really, really be supportive of our police department. Like I said, I'm going to keep this very positive, but we are understaffed. They are underfunded for a number of reasons, and economic development, economic opportunities, and housing. There is a disparity between those that live in the west side of the city versus those that live on the east side of the city. And so I really, really want to see some CRA dollars, CRA funding towards helping our residents that live in the west side of the city, and making sure that we do everything possible, but not just in words, but in actions, to make sure that the area, particularly the northwest side, does not gentrify. So there's a lot of history in the northwest side of Hallandale Beach, and there are people that
live on that side of town as well. You lived on the west side first, right?
I lived in Southwest Hallandale, and when I married my husband, we moved to the northeast side of Hallandale. So I have the unique perspective of living on both sides of the city. But I can tell you that it's very different living on the west side than it is on the east side. And that is something that boils my blood, because when you drive through Southwest, and I door knocked in Northwest as well, there is trash everywhere, bulk trash. There are houses that really, really need our help, because the property owners are good people, they're hardworking, but they don't have the same economic resources, if you will.
There's no trash cans? They don't have trash cans that they can
No, there's trash cans. I'm talking about bulk trash.
Like if somebody moved out and they put it out, or
people that come and dump. There's empty lots and people that come and dump. The people that live, our neighbors in the West, are responsible homeowners. We
need to get those dumpers, put some cameras around those areas or something, and arrest those people that are coming into our town and doing that, because it's not fair. I think one of the good and bad things about Hallandale Beach, we are so close to 95, but that's also bad because we are so close to 95. And you have that. But if that's an issue, I would think, I'm not a commissioner, but okay, if there's an issue, let's try to resolve it. For me, I would think, let's put some cameras out there and let's make, I'm not talking about Big Brother type of situation, but making where there's issues where, because of resources, things could be resolved. I'm just thinking out loud. When you said that, I'm like, how could that be an issue and not be resolved?
So that's the thing. We have great CRA staff. So this is really, also a CRA issue. And I don't think it's fair for me to go into a discussion without having CRA staff on the conversation as well. But when, like I said, we don't have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 years for changes. We can start now. I don't believe, I hear it over and over. Oh, the city doesn't have the resources. The city doesn't have the funding. There's always an issue why we can't do things, but there's very little, yes, we're going to look into it. For years, condo owners were told that there was nothing on a city level that we could do. We figured out what we can do. It might not be the most perfect solution, but it is a step in the right direction. So, you know, we have an amazing CRA staff, and I really hope that, you know, should I be reelected, that I'll work with the CRA to to mitigate some of these issues, because you know what, the people on the West Side deserve to live in dignity and deserve to feel proud about their neighborhood. You know, walking and knocking on doors in Northwest Hallandale, I mean, I always knew what the issues were there, but actually walking and talking to the residents, you know, I'm more committed than ever. But you know, it would take a commission that, you know, a majority of a commission at least, that would, you know, want to make this a priority. So, you know, it can't just be one or two commissioners. You have to have a majority that want to work on it.
Agreed. And the other thing we kind of touched upon a little bit is the elderly population. As well, in real estate, whenever I get a call and they're like, oh, we're looking for a condo for my grandmother, I always say, you call the right place. Hallandale Beach, best place for your grandparent to get a condo. It's like, not just because that's where I am, but because I see there's so many great condos for 55 and over residences. So a lot of our elderly obviously are in need more than ever now. So has there been a special program set up for our elderly residences, any assistance? And I was just on a group chat the other day that an elderly woman was basically making $50 a week. She needed food. She needed even a part-time job, anything. And so, you know, I went online and I saw Hallandale Beach, this. And so what is out there for our elderly residents?
So I see Miss Parks from the CRA, Laverne Parks, who I'm a huge fan of, is one of the participants. I don't know if it would be appropriate, Miss Parks, for you to go over some of the CRA programs, or am I putting you on the spot?
But we have to see your face. That's putting you on the spot. So I don't know. Here we go. Laverne Parks. All right. I love this.
Laverne's amazing, by the way. The CRA would not be where it is today if Laverne wasn't a part of it. And I'm a huge
Norma can unmute her since we have a.
She's unmuted.
She is. Okay, thanks, Norma. Hi, Laverne.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Carla Davis. I am the moderator for this lovely morning that we have today. And Commissioner Taub invited you to talk about some of the programs. First of all, Laverne, can you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Laverne Parks. I am the CRA program manager for the residential programs.
Laverne, can you speak up a little bit? I don't know if you're on speaker. We could hear you a little bit.
You'll probably have to come back to me because I have to take my computer off the anchor and use the laptop.
Okay, that's better though.
We can hear you.
So can you tell us about some of the programs that the CRA has for elderly residences?
It's not just for elderly residents, it's for residents within the CRA. We have the, we do have the senior utility and rental assistance program. And we also have the...
I'm sorry, I'm gonna repeat what you're saying because I know it's a little low. Senior facility and living facility program is what you said.
It's a senior rental and utility assistance program for seniors 60 and older who may need assistance with utilities and rent. We also have the senior mini grant program to assist those that may have some exterior repairs that need to be done. So that program is available also up to $15,000 in assistance for exterior repairs for seniors 60 and older.
What kind of repairs would that include?
For life safety issues, for instance, if a bathroom needs to be converted for someone who's handicapped, or a ramp needs to be installed for a handicapped individual, or exterior repairs like windows, doors, roof, and the lights on the exterior.
Well, this is good to know. And if somebody needed some of that assistance, where do they go or call? Because I know we always do websites and all that, but you know, some seniors prefer to call. What can people do who need this kind of assistance?
Okay, so I will provide my contact number. It's 954-457-1422. And of course, the applications for those who are able to get online, all of the applications regarding our programs are online.
And what's that website?
www.cohbcra.org.
So it's cohbcra.org. I'm going to post this on the Q&A for everyone to have. You may not personally need it, but you may know someone who does. Or as we are driving along Hallandale Beach and doing our business or having lunch or whatever, and you see somebody that may be in need, they may not know the resources. So these are just some of the things that I think we, especially now, this is a Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce event. So all of us have a stake in the city, whether we do business here, whether we live here. So it's important for us to at least pass on some of this important information if we see somebody in need. Laverne, anything else that we should know? I know we kind of put you, well, Commissioner Taub put you on the spot. So anything else? Thank you for doing it, actually. This has been very good, that we should know about that is important for the residences.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, well, thank you for providing us with this information and jumping in. Again, that phone number is 954-457-1422. And again, we'll post it as well on the Q&A so everyone can save it. Thank you so much for jumping in. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, credit needs to be given where credit is due. And I think it would have been more appropriate for Ms. Parks to chime in, and she puts a lot of her time and efforts, as do some of the other CRA staff as well. Going back to aiding seniors. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the originally the programs were slated for 67 and older individuals. And so I spoke with Dr. Earl and I said, we've got to, there are people who are, what happens if someone is 61 or is 62 years old? And so he did some research, came back to me, and then a CRA meeting, I was glad that I was able to get the support of the other commissioners. I made a motion and got support to reduce the age to 60 years old. So that was through the COVID time, and talking to residents, that was something that I noticed. I noticed that there were a lot of people in need that were younger. Sorry, this is what happens with COVID. But I do want to give a shout out to Jesus Abicaram, because it wouldn't be right to talk about, the unemployment process if I didn't mention that Jesus was incredible. Was very, very helpful with residents, and also did a presentation regarding the stimulus check payments, and free of charge. He helped residents, answered questions. So Jesus, you're amazing. It was we recognize Jesus. We recognize him in the city as well. So yeah, it was a collective effort to try to attenuate and mitigate the economic hardships by our residents. So thank you so much, Jesus, for that.
Jesus, are you on there? I don't see your face.
I'm here, and thank you so much for thank you so much for the opportunity and for allowing me to participate, and also for taking charge in helping the residents in various ways. So the honor was all mine to help out and be able to give back to the city that have given so much to us, my family and I, for the last 11 years. We're glad to be here. We're always glad to help. And Jesus, thank you for the opportunity.
Tell everyone the name of your business, Jesus.
Freedom Tax Center, we're on Hallandale Beach and 6th Avenue, right across from the Pollo Tropical. You can't miss it. Look for the Pollo and then come across the street.
There you go. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. You're amazing. Speaking of things for the community, small businesses, we've all gotten hit one way or the other. We've seen our restaurants, we've seen our hair salons, just all these amazing, beautiful small businesses that are out there. What is the city doing to help with these small businesses that continue to struggle? And honestly, COVID isn't going away. So it's a continuous, it's a long, for the long stretch. So what has the city come up with, and what do you hope happens in the future?
So I think that, you know, if we're going to be completely candid, it's COVID and then there's election season, right? So we're all very busy and, you know, we're in election season. So I'd love to come back after the election, but no matter who's sitting on the commission, I think that there's more that can be done. I don't know what the number is of how many small business owners are behind on their rent, and how we can intervene is not the right word, but offer some kind of aid. Remember, we're also, you know, there are state laws of what we can and cannot do as a city, and how we spend our tax dollars. Specifically within the CRA. So, you know, more help is needed. But I also think that it's really important that, you know, someone like yourself and other business owners attend our CRA meetings. I think we're going to go back to in-person meetings soon. But come out and let the commission know that there's a need for it. Because sometimes people don't take advantage of the programs that we do have, and then those programs close out. And then, you know, staff will say, well, you know, we allocated $50,000 of that, you know, only $7,000 of that money was used. So then it might look like there's not a need for these programs. I don't think that it's a question of a need. There is a need. I know there's a need. It's getting that information out that these programs are available. And then working together with the business owners, partnering with their Chamber of Commerce of what do you know that's needed? What kind of financial resources do you know of that are needed? So I think hopefully right after the election we can partner up. I'm putting together a friend of the city program in a project to bring all the business owners together with the residents, so that people know. I mean, I've discovered some new businesses that I didn't know were in existence in Hallandale Beach until recently, and helping our businesses on the west side also that don't get as much. They're not right on the boulevard when people are driving to and from work or to 95. So I think it's going to have to be a collective effort of, okay, what can we do with funding? How much funding do we have available? What's the need? And then, okay, we're going to put these programs together, but now we need to get the word out to retailers and small business owners.
You touched on a subject that I was going to ask you about, which is important for all of us, again, especially those who are visiting us and going to watch this later. How do we get more involved? And I know that the commission has been meeting via Zoom. Now it's going to be in person, but let's just say that you can't go all the time to the meetings. Are they going to make them virtual available for someone that may be at home with their kids? Because most of our kids are doing virtual school and you need to stay home and whatnot. So that's where I want to go next. Are some of these meetings going to be made available virtually? And how can our residents get more involved?
So I think the city's still trying to work out the next steps. So for the last 7-ish months, we've been on Zoom where people could call in, send in a video. So I don't know if we have a solid plan yet and what it's going to look like for when we do come back. I think we're going to have our meetings at the Cultural Center to make sure that there's social distancing. But Sending out an email for e-comments. So typically at the beginning of the meeting, there's a time slot allotted for public participation. And, each member of the public has 3 minutes to speak. But, maybe we can do I can sponsor a presentation by the Chamber of Commerce where you'll get more than 3 minutes. So you pick, your top 3-4 speakers and you come up and we have this dialogue. I think that you'll find that the majority of the commission is open, and all you have to do is reach out and ask. But for the public, they can send out emails to be read into the record at commission meetings, and do this and be persistent every single meeting, every CRA meeting.
So everything is posted on the city website, all the meetings upcoming. People can just go to the regular website for the city and you'll see upcoming events and you'll see if there's a meeting coming up.
Yes, and there should be a clickable link on there where you can submit your comments as a member of the public.
One of the last things I want to touch up with you, because you have been amazing and just answering a lot of questions that impact our daily lives, permits. And that has been a very listen, I think all the cities in one way or the other have been touched by this, but and we all have our stories. What is the status now of somebody that needs a permit? In our case, in real estate, sometimes you need a permit just to be closed. You don't even necessarily need a big thing to be done. Sometimes somebody did something 5 years ago, changed an AC, changed the window, they forgot. Now we have a closing in 35 days. We just need that to be closed. I've done certain things my way and I got it done, but not everybody has those resources or can fight like we do. What's going on?
Oh boy. I try to be candid, but keep it positive. It's a staffing issue. I really believe that our city services should be centered around great customer service. So, hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We lack customer service. I'll say it's a staffing issue, and we can have this conversation no matter who's sitting up. So after November 3rd election, what I would say is go to the commission meetings, become really engaged, and demand that the permit system and the building department, if it's a funding issue, if city staff is going to tell you that it's a funding issue, well then let's figure out where we can get the funding. I will say this is, the city we've gone in the last almost 4 years that I've been serving on there. I think we've had 3 city managers going on three or 4.
Unfortunately, I think that's a claim to fame that Hallandale Beach does have. I hear it all the time. I've done many other Zooms with and then when Hallandale Beach comes, you hear the same thing. We've had 3 city. It's that I would say would be like the little thing that.
So where I was going with that is that I do want to give interim city manager Earl some time. I mean, he just inherited, he came on, I think, September as interim city manager. And so he's had to inherit a whole host of, issues. And so, I'm aware, and I think we're all aware that there are issues within the permitting department. And I think it's a worthy conversation and a follow-up after the election, and also giving Jeremy Earl some time to really get down and to the bottom of why are we where are we at now, and what are we going to do about it. And we're not going to wait till next year. We're going to start today. And I think it's an urgent city matter.
And it affects the economy, because if we're having the permitting slowdowns and all of that, it, you know, people are going to be inclined not to buy property in Hallandale Beach, because then they realize, well, if I want to renovate something, or I need to change this and change that, if it's going to take so long to get it done, I'm not going to buy in Hallandale Beach. So it is a trickle effect. I will tell you this, giving them kudos for my personal experience in real estate. I made some phone calls. I got to the top level where I needed. My problems were resolved quickly, but that was, again, a push, a shove, a call, another. I got it done, but it wasn't easy. And it shouldn't have to be that difficult to get it done. And that's the bottom line. I got it done, but I can imagine what someone who didn't have the time, the energy, or know people to get it done. So, and again, I do think COVID had a big part of it. But I think it is a big issue that needs to be addressed.
For right now, I think, you know, feel free to email me at ataub@cohb.org. That's ataub@cohb.org. If you are having an issue, you know, include your, you know, the address, the person that requested the permit, and I'll forward it over to the city manager's office. I do not get involved beyond that. I don't make calls. I don't ask for favors of anyone. I don't make demands of staff, but I am happy to forward anyone that's having an issue to the city manager's office. But this is a really worthy conversation that needs to be had coming back in November. But I think, as you know, you're in real estate, you know, you guys need to show up to commission meetings, and every single meeting, because what happens is that, you know, somebody will call in, they'll complain, or they'll write in a complaint, but then they never follow up with it. And then things kind of, you know, there are other people with other complaints. And so it just, you know, piles up and it's forgotten about. But you know, let's give Jeremy Earl some time to figure out what's going on, what needs to be done, and reach out to his office as well. And I, you know, I'll definitely follow up with him. You know, and let's have this conversation again, whether it's, you know, on or offline.
So we're going to now get to what I call the lightning round. And this is, obviously, we have great businesses and great things to do here in Hallandale Beach. But I'm going to ask you for your favorite, and in one word. So we kind of went over this a little bit when we were starting. Your favorite place to get a pedicure in Hallandale Beach?
Hair Clip Salon.
And where are they located?
West Dixie Highway. Like, I'm not sure of the address. Just look it up and ask for Gloria.
Best dinner spot in Hallandale Beach?
Ooh, best dinner spot in Hallandale Beach. I love cilantro. I'm a vegan, so, you know, it's hard to find meal, but cilantro, they have everything for everyone.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. They're great. They actually catered one of my parties that I had at my office. So they do catering as well. So they're good. I would say that could be your best. My next one was best place for sushi. So it could be cilantro then as well.
Yes.
Okay. Best place for coffee or tea?
Starbucks.
I like, I'll ask you this one. Best place for Cuban food?
Ooh, a touch above Cuba.
A touch of Cuba.
A touch of Cuba, yeah. My husband's Cuban, so, you know, yeah.
They're great. I've been there a million times. They're actually on Uber Eats too. Sometimes when I can't leave the office, I order on Uber Eats. So it's amazing to support them. And then finally, best place to get your hair done in Hallandale Beach?
Hair Clip Salon. I love Gloria.
Oh, so they do both. They do hair and nails.
Yes, but the lady, and Vicky's her name. Vicky's the lady that does the pedicure. She is incredible. Like, bring out your most beautiful, like, high heel slides. Like, after, it's just, she's the best. Vicky's amazing.
And finally, best place to get a nice exercise in Hallandale Beach, whether it's indoor or outdoors?
Are you kidding? The whole city, just walk all around. It's I go around from Scavo Park. My husband and I walk every night, and we do the whole Diplomat Parkway and walk it. But Bluestein Park too.
Yes, that's great. Well, listen, I wanted to thank you. I think this has been amazing. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope everyone joins us again November 4th at noon for the Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce Women in Business Council. We're doing a very special event. It's called the State of Hospitality in Broward County. We have a great panel to discuss just how things are going in our hospitality industry. And then December 10th, we're doing at 10 a.m. another installment of Good Morning Hallandale Beach, the state of Broward County. And one of our special guests is the mayor of Broward County. So we're going to get possibly some more guests for that as well. So those are some amazing events coming up. Thank you, Commissioner Taub, for joining us today. You've been amazing. You've given us some great information. I'm Carla Guadamus Davis. I hope everyone has a productive day, and please be kind to one another.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. And please call me Anabelle from now on. Bye. Bye.
Bye.